Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Thursday, April 10th. I'm your host, Bree Cox Kennedy. It's good to be back with you again today. On today's show, we have a full segment of GRF Update. They've got a lot of amazing things to share with us, and I'm really looking forward to finding more information out about Golden Rain Foundation. I'm sure you are as well. But first, folks, we want to keep you informed. Social Security benefits and understanding all of it. So staying informed about Social Security benefits is definitely key to making the right decisions for your financial future. So whether you're planning for retirement, exploring Medicare options, or seeking clarity on survivor benefits, make sure you attend an upcoming presentation on Wednesday, April 23rd from 2 to 3:30 p.m. at Clubhouse 7. I'm sure this meeting will provide valuable insights. You don't have to register, but if you'd like some more information, contact Social Services at 949-597-4267. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast, which is reducing in temperatures, folks. So get out there and enjoy it while you can. Today and tomorrow, we've got higher temps in the upper 70s, cooling down to 71 on Saturday, and then a massive cooling trend coming in on Sunday and Monday. We still have areas of low clouds and fog. They will give way to sunshine, so we're trying to make our way from spring to summer. I feel like it's a butterfly trying to get out of its cocoon. We'll get there, folks. Sunrise this morning was at 6:26 a.m. and sunset will be at 7:18. Cute little pelican. I never see pelicans this far up on the beach, but Mark Weiss from Village TV got this shot from Newport Beach. Thanks, Mark. I'd like to see your photos. Please send those to us via email at Laguna Woods Village TV@gmail.com. Please send us your name, where the photo was taken from, and in a horizontal format, please. Next up, we've got a few meetings to tell you about. And then after the break, GRF Update. Stay with us.
And we absolutely love you, Matt King, as a friend and as the greatest comedy magician, at least alive today, maybe who ever lived.
Laguna Woods Village Performing Arts Center presents The Matt King Comedy Magic Show, Saturday, May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center.
Get ready for a night of smooth jazz, soulful R&B, and old school funk. The African American Heritage Club presents two bands for the price of one. First up is Brothers Igniting a Groove, bringing you the best in funk, both classic covers and original jams. Then let the smooth sounds of Down with Three take you away with their signature urban jazz and R&B vocals. Don't miss this unforgettable night. Saturday, April 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Laguna Woods Performing Arts Center. Grab your tickets now at the Pack Box Office. Two incredible bands, one night only to be there.
Seniors fear running out of money more than death itself, and the number one mistake you can make is underestimating volatility, which can derail your retirement. For 35 years now, I've coached seniors to financial independence by using two simple rules: never take big losses and create income along the way. It's your financial future. Call now to get a free risk analysis to ensure your investments are protected, and we'll send you our Safer Money System, 949-219-0692.
welcome back to the show. We welcome Allison Bach, second VP, and Andy Ginocchio, treasurer. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. We've got a lot to go over. This is my first interview with you two. So
Yes.
can you help me understand a few questions about GRF?
Sure.
And hopefully it'll be relatable to our viewers. So let's start off by asking, who owns GRF?
Well, can I take a step backwards and answer an unasked question of what GRF stands for?
Absolutely, yes.
GRF, and there's so many acronyms in our village, but GRF stands for Golden Rain Foundation. And Golden Rain is a tree. It's a tree, and there are many of them planted in the village, and more in the past were planted here. And it was just taken as a name, as a beautiful flowering, everlasting shrub and tree for the foundation that holds the common assets of this trust, of this foundation. So it's Golden Rain Foundation and Trust.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Can I elaborate on that?
Please.
Absolutely.
Laguna Woods Village is the culmination of the foresight and the vision of Ross Cortez way back in the day, way back in the 60s. And he did this elsewhere. So the village is not just one of his it's not his only project, it's one of his projects. They're all still existing. So Mr. Cortez developed it, then turned it over in a legal sense to the trust, and then it's history from there. What happened with all the different mutuals, which we'll talk about, how ownership came about. Do you want to handle
You
that?
want to expand on that,
Yeah,
Allison?
sure. Well, what's in the trust? What is owned by the trust, or it belongs to the beneficiaries of the trust? The trust is a very large trust fund that contains all of the clubhouses 1 through 7, and the land they are on and their contents. It also includes the golf courses, the tennis courts, pickleball courts, equestrian center, all of the common use assets that people enjoy for recreation and for health. Also, the community center building, the building that we are in, not the land, but the building. It includes the amenities within the clubhouses too. When you go to Clubhouse 1 and see the wonderful facilities there, Clubhouse 5, Clubhouse 4, all of the contents are the assets of the trust for the most part. There are some clubs that own various elements of equipment, for example, but otherwise they are the GRF Trust. Now what that means is that all of the people who live here and are members of either Third, United, or Mutual 50 are all equal members of GRF. So we have equal membership for everybody. We all pay the same rate every single month, $238.19, to enjoy full access to those facilities. So everybody's equal. Everybody comes in and can have equal access to the things they want to do.
Great. Wow. So you touched a little bit on this, but explain to us what exactly the physicality of GRF is.
Andy, do you want
The
to do that?
physicality of it.
Yeah.
As Allison said, basically the housing assets are owned by the mutuals. The non-housing assets are owned by GRF, and Village Management Services, VMS, uses GRF equipment to carry out their mission. VMS has all the employees. None of the mutuals have employees. GRF doesn't have employees. There's a management agreement which defines all this, and basically GRF buys services from VMS, and VMS acts as an independent contractor. So we all get together and figure out what we want them to do and how much it's going to cost. They figure out how to do it. We don't tell VMS how to do their work. They're an independent contractor. Otherwise, they'd be an employee. But on the other hand, here's the thing why it's so confusing. We own them. So how can you own somebody and really paying for them in the end, and they're not your employee? That's California law. That's what it is. So it does present some issues in communication. But to get back to the assets, GRF has to act as trustee for the Golden Rain Foundation Trust. And a trustee, we act as a board. No individual person's a trustee per se. The board as a whole is the trustee. and you have a fiduciary responsibility to that trust. But the beneficiaries of the trust are all the residents, are the owners, rather, of the mutuals. So GRF, through a couple permutations, is responsible to all the residents. It's just legally, there's a certain format. We have an allegiance, a loyalty to the GRF corporate entity, as does the directors of each of the housing mutuals to that corporate entity. But in the end, believe it, we're for all the residents, and sometimes you don't see that, you think, but ultimately everything we do is for the residents. We just have this legal structure, and sometimes there are conflicts. The mutuals can't sue GRF and vice versa. It's happened historically. We don't like it when it happens.
They cannot sue.
Pardon?
Is that what you said? They cannot sue?
Well, GRF, if there's a disagreement with the mutuals, it can go to court.
Oh, they can.
So, but we don't like that, and we try to communicate.
Right.
But again, with the assets, we're responsible for paying for these assets. VMS figures out the best assets to get, and they maintain our assets, and it's a give and take. I'm from the Midwest, and we use what we have practically till it's falling apart, maybe too much. And we try to use what we have. That's stewardship. GRF is a steward of these assets, and we try to be a good steward. We try to get the maximum life out of this stuff, but that can go overboard, and sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and get a brand new asset. No one likes to throw things away, but we try to be good stewards of assets. But again, VMS uses our assets, and that's a whole different story.
Yes, and look at what they're worth. On the screen, there's a slide of the value of the assets of Golden Rain Foundation, which you all own a part of, or part of it. $114 million on the books, $300 million to replace the physical assets. Think about the value of land, of all this acreage in southern Orange County. My goodness, the physical land alone is very, very valuable. We have over $40 million in cash and in reserves investment on hand, and about $3 million of net income in 2024 that was booked to reserves. So this is not a small deal, and I hope everybody's feeling richer already as a beneficiary of this trust.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So what did it take to operate GRF in 2024?
Well, we incurred, $53 million in expense.
Right.
And a lot of that is compensation, which is paid indirectly. VMS employs the people and incurs the cost, then it's passed on to us through the management agreement. But we have other things. For example, this insurance crisis that's happening. We saw our insurance jump tremendously, not so much as the mutuals, because there's a different risk profile with the housing mutuals, the housing. Still, insurance is becoming a bigger and bigger expense every year. And to that end, we work with VMS and the county authorities and other people to mitigate our exposure to this fire risk. And GRF does have some risks because some of our clubhouses are not that far from a lot of dried vegetation. Right. And you know what happened? The wind blew all those embers, and so you can just see coming from the wilderness area. So we try to mitigate that with proper construction methods. We also try to keep the vegetation away from the buildings. And sometimes people, in the housing mutuals, they plant stuff right next to the building, and that's a very risky thing to do. So over time, we're trying to mitigate our fire risk, but the insurance companies charge everybody the same. Also, this is a tough labor market in Southern California. VMS has trouble getting employees. They pay very well. It's just the way it is. So we have good ideas. VMS executes them, but sometimes if you don't have enough people, something has to give. Yeah. We try to manage all of that in the end for the residents, and we try to get feedback all the time from the residents so how we can improve. But sometimes there's nothing we can do in the short term. Long term, we address all those issues. I don't know if I've answered your question, but I try to lay out our philosophy of dealing with it. And it costs money. It costs a lot of money. We're working diligently. As treasurer, I can tell you, we try to keep the costs, not eliminate them, but keep them from growing as much. And so we need to understand where we get the value for the dollar. You know, we just don't spend money. We really research this.
That's amazing. Do you think that insurance rates will ever come down again?
No.
No, I think I agree with Andy. The outlook may be a little bit better this year for commercial with insurance for GRF. Maybe it's going to be a little bit better for the housing mutuals, but probably not, you know, not in any major way. So we have to be braced for that. We also have to be braced for higher prices of commodity-based materials that we use in the community, not just in GRF, but throughout the housing mutuals. Materials that are going to be imported from other countries could become more expensive for us. So there are some very serious challenges, financial challenges ahead of us here. Not only insurance and materials costs, labor costs, as Andy was saying, and the cost of maintaining these facilities. Think about maintaining a golf course, maintaining tennis and pickleball courts, the garden centers, the RV lots, the maintenance yards, the vehicles that you see around the village that work people use. We also have open and forested areas. We have to maintain the streets and paving, and of course the gate areas, all the gate areas. So there's a very considerable list of assets. They're valuable assets. We can't neglect them. We have to maintain them, and we have to pay for it.
Now, that being said, there's also movement within the mutuals and with VMS to pool our resources. For example, you know, with insurance, group buying power, and we're exploring that big time. In fact, last year, there were considerable savings when United and Third got together, saved millions of dollars. And so GRF is getting to be part of that, although we have very specific insurance needs and risks. We're trying to leverage all of that. Same way with communications, same way with information technology. We're trying to leverage all of that so we communicate better and less costly. So
sometimes people ask, oh, why don't you just open a store? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that and make more money? We're a nonprofit, and as a not-for-profit entity, we are not smart to look at raising revenues through entities that might make a significant profit. We would have to make some significant legal changes or additions to our profile in order to do that. But what we do is look at every possibility for saving, for becoming more efficient, for offering events that are interesting to people, that they're going to be willing to pay a ticket price for. We're always looking for new wallets to come into the village and enjoy our facilities and maybe buy in eventually. So the drive for revenue is very difficult. We're limited by what we may do. We have to stay within our not-for-profit definition, and yet we still have to be as efficient as possible. It's a challenge.
It's a big ask.
A big ask, exactly. Yeah, big ask.
but even more difficult is meeting the changing needs of recreation.
True.
You know, 60 years old, the village and counting. People are doing things differently. What was popular 60 years ago is not popular today. For example, pickleball has taken off. Who knew?
That was
Who
very
knew?
top of mind.
I'm from the Midwest. Pickleball's not a big deal, or at least wasn't when I was there.
Right.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And golf has always been a big deal here. And you know, our golf course is terrific. We do a great job at golf. And it's economies of scale. And if you do something well, and if you build the better mousetrap, they will come. And so we've had very good success with our golf course because it's very well run. Got a lot of cost to it, but we're doing okay on that. What we're trying to do is have our facilities be more flexible in terms of being able to change over time.
Sure.
And like, for example, courts, you know, can a tennis court be used for pickleball? Yeah, in theory, but you know, they're striped differently. There are ways to get around it. We leave that up to the experts to figure out. What we try to do is get dual or several uses of a particular facility so that we can adapt, because it's in everybody's benefit to have stuff available that they want. If we have stuff that they don't want and it lays empty, I mean,
And there's still a cost to maintain it.
there's still a cost to maintain
So
it, right?
minimally used facilities have to be examined carefully to see, you know, if there's a higher use, a more contemporary use, something that's going to be more attractive to today's owners, you know, to use, and today's members are
I know I've talked
different.
to Phil Chait a couple of times,
Yes.
and he is mentioning that the bocce ball courts are they're either revamping them or they're brand new.
Well, here's
So-
the thing. I'm a member of the Bocce Club,
There you go.
and even though I'm an Italian American and I did play bocce ball years ago, it's generally not my thing. It's a very easy game actually to get your arms around. The courts are rather small, and it's basically throwing a ball out and getting spin on it, and knocking the other ball out of the way, and getting closer to the object ball. The bocce ball courts here are very well attended, and in addition to being an activity, it's a social activity, big time, and people know each other, and this is a problem in today's life. People are isolated somewhat, and that's what in the village we try to get people together, and bocce is one of the ways. Now, similar to bocce is lawn bowling, just bigger. The lawn bowling courts, if you've seen them, are twice as big.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same kind of game. And what we're trying to do is maintain those and encourage use, because take lawn bowling, if it wasn't being used, what would you use it for? If it wasn't being used for lawn bowling,
Right.
what would you use it for? So we try to get people to use what we have, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. One thing I would point out, being from the Midwest, I'm not used to the sun.
The sun.
Been to the skin doctor too many times. And we look for shade covers to give people a little break from the sun. Not so easy in California. All kinds of rules. Anytime you put up a structure, watch out. You know, lots of rules, lots of cost. So we have to balance these things. But in the end, we're trying to do the right thing. We don't want people to get skin cancer, you know.
Right, for sure.
So, bocce ball, right now, in fact, very timely, they're asking for they're asking us to look at the shade situation, and we'll see if we can do something for them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So, to wrap it up, tell us, what does the GRF board actually do?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're all volunteers. That's something to keep in mind. None of us are paid. We're all committed as volunteers to work for the good and fulfill a fiduciary duty to the members to make the best possible decisions for the greatest number of people. So overseeing the projects that are determined to be priorities, making sure that they are managed and executed properly. We are looking always to do better space utilization around the village and the clubhouses. We are looking always to look for revenue ideas that would ease the financial burden on members. We're right now looking at a very significant broadband project that will bring many, many improvements and enhancements to internet and to broadband service in the village. And we're looking for continuously improving cost and cost benefit to members. And that includes things like having accurate counts of participation, reviewing what other communities like ours are doing in the way of recreation and amenities for members.
Is there anybody like yours?
Yeah, well, we do have two sister communities to the north, Seal Beach and Walnut Creek, Rossmore. And nationally, there are some that Florida particularly has some that are very large like us. And of course, one of the big challenges, of course, are utility costs for all of us. And so we're looking for active communication with Sacramento, with our utility commissions, to let people in power know what we want and need.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you two, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
Allison
Bree.
and Andy, appreciate it. Appreciate your time, the update, and all the information you've given us.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
See you next time.
All right,
Yes,
take care.
thank you.
All right, folks, stay with us after the break. We are going to be doing a movie preview.
Hearing connects you back to life. Don't settle for being trapped in the isolation of poor hearing. Advanced Ear can help you hear friends, family, and caregivers. We provide one-on-one hearing programs that will amaze you with the quality of how much better you can hear. There's no cost to hear the improvement we deliver. You'll be able to hear better the minute you put these on. No buttons to push or technology to be afraid of. We deliver better hearing, guaranteed. Come in so we can connect you back to life. And remember, tell them Stuart sent you.
Aging at home with the support of a caregiver offers numerous benefits physically and emotionally. Right at Home helps you stay amongst your personal belongings, memories, and comfort of your home. We offer one-on-one care that helps monitor health, assist with daily activities such as showering, medical medication reminders, cooking, safety, and accident prevention. Our team at Right at Home can help maintain your independence, keep a routine, and allow you to continue to make your own choices while improving your quality of life. We are Right at Home.
I've seen the sunny days that I thought. Too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it. How sweet it is to be loved by you.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Friday's movie preview is Auntie Mam, 1958, brought to us by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. An orphan goes to live with his free-spirited aunt. Conflict ensues when the executor of his father's estate objects to the aunt's lifestyle. Tomorrow on This Day, we have Saddleback Church with Rick Bradford and our very own Cole Young with Sports Corner. So we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. That's going to do it for this episode of This Day, and from all of us here, we wish yours a beautiful one.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for Peace.